Staying in college football, what I was going to lead the show off with until the Saban news dropped. Michigan wins the national title by a final score of 34-13 over the Washington Huskies. Now, I mean, not to brag on myself or anything, but I mean, Michigan was kind of my preseason pick to win it all. But that doesn't even mean anything. Nobody cares about that. What we do care about is the fact that Michigan did go 15-0. They're the fifth team of all time to do that. Won the Big Ten, won the semifinal game over Alabama, as we just mentioned, and beat a very good elite, I would go so far as to say, Washington team, led by an elite Washington quarterback, Michael Penix Jr. And again, I'll say now what I've said before about Michigan, and this is the mark of a well-coached team, which Jim Harbaugh's the coach, so duh, and a very talented football team, and the best team in college football, which I said they were all season long. They make you play the game on their terms. They will dictate how you play. Now, whether or not you can adjust, whether or not you are capable of playing their game, we'll see. But if it comes down to who can be Michigan better, who can play Michigan football better, then you're going to lose. Ohio State came close, as did Alabama. Washington hung with them at times. It looked like it'd be a game around late third quarter, early fourth, and Michigan kind of pulled away because they were the better football team with more NFL players. But I hope today, or Monday night certainly, and by today, about 48 hours later, we can put to bed the notion that it had everything to do with this evil scheme, sign stealing. You know, the Patriots, during their 20-year dynasty, had a lot of scandals. They won the Super Bowl because they had Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. That's why they won the Super Bowl. Tom Brady, obviously, more so than Belichick, but Belichick and those defenses certainly played a major factor. They won because they were the best quarterbacked team, and on defense, the best coach team, and the best situational team, and a team that could beat you multiple different facets, a team that could beat you if you made a mistake. It wasn't because of some deflated footballs, which were deflated, by the way, by the cold weather. Different story for a different day. They didn't win because they spied on a Jets practice. They won because they had the best quarterback of all time and one of the greatest defensive coaches ever. Michigan won the national championship because they have arguably the best coach in college football and the best team in college football. NFL players everywhere. The best running back arguably in college football. Arguably the best offensive line, despite the injuries, in college football. They weren't a team that was going to beat you over the top. That wasn't really their brand. They don't have elite wide receiver talent. And frankly, like the kid, don't love him. They don't have elite quarterback play in J.J. McCarthy. They were going to beat you their way. And that's what all great teams do. They make you play the game on their terms. The Golden State Warriors at the height of their dynasty, I say this is a Warriors fan, made you play their game. If you couldn't get out running and gunning, fast break, shooting the three, you're going to lose. Simple as that. You were going to lose to the Golden State Warriors. That's what all great teams do. And for Jim Harbaugh, I could not be happier for the man. Couldn't be happier. He had a quote after the game where he said, "Now I can sit at the big person table because John Harbaugh has a Super Bowl. His brother John Harbaugh has a Super Bowl in which he ironically beat Jim Harbaugh to get that Super Bowl in Super Bowl 47. Their dad, Jack Harbaugh, won a national title in the 80s. Now Jim has a ring. So, good for him to being, kind of on equal footing in the Harbaugh family. This is a guy who wins everywhere he goes. That's something that few could say. I thought Urban Meyer was in that category. Then he went to Jacksonville, and that was a disaster, so you can't really put him there anymore. Jim Harbaugh went to San Diego State, won there. Went to Stanford, who was the joke of college football, and immediately beat the powerhouse USC Trojans coached by Pete Carroll, who we'll talk about later in the show. And Stanford with Andrew Luck, with Jim Harbaugh, Richard Sherman played on defense for some of those teams, turned into an elite program. He also went to San Francisco, a team that was also dead in the water. By the way, the San Francisco 49ers were, again, a joke in the NFL. Year one takes over with an Alex Smith, who my man Tim Barnard, shout out to Tim, the newest addition to the Grid Network, set in the 8 o'clock spot last night. Alex Smith picks number 1 overall in 2005, famously over Aaron Rodgers. Alex Smith was a bust. He'd done nothing in San Francisco. Jim Harbaugh takes over, Alex Smith at quarterback. They're a muffed punt away from going to the Super Bowl year one. Year two, they do get to the Super Bowl with Colin Kaepernick, who, while he was a great athlete, not the most natural thrower. And if not for a missed pass interference in the end zone, hey, they might have won the thing over the Baltimore Ravens. 2013, if not for a batted ball, one of the greatest defensive plays ever by Richard Sherman, they get to the Super Bowl again. 2014, 8-8. I think they were 8-8 that year. Kind of a mixed bag for San Francisco. There were some disagreements with Harbaugh in the front office. Oh my God, Jim's difficult. And San Francisco went right back to being irrelevant for the next half decade until they got Kyle Shanahan. Jim takes over Michigan. Brady Hoke coached. That roster was pretty mid, and we'll be nice today. Takes over. They win 10 games year one. Year two, if not for we'll put it this way, a very generous spot to Ohio State in overtime, they beat Ohio State in the horseshoe. So you have that component onto it as well. Jim Harbaugh not only wins everywhere he goes, he takes over crap situations and turns them into gold. That's what he does. He'll be the number one, assuming he leaves Michigan, and my sources say that's probably going to happen. He'll take some time off, spend time with the family, clear his head, see what he wants to do. He loves Michigan. He's a Michigan alum, so that the possibility of him coming back is certainly on the table. The money is definitely on the table, over $120 million contract potentially waiting for him. But Jim does love the NFL. There are some good jobs out there that he could potentially take over. My guess is he goes back to the league. He'll be, in my estimation, the most sought-after candidate, including, with all due respect to Mike Vrabel, We'll see. But shout out to Jim Harbaugh. This was not the result of an evil scheme. No, they were just the best team, and they punch you right in the mouth. That's how they won. Kind of old school. Not always aesthetically pleasing. Certainly that game against Penn State back in, I guess it was November, when they threw like 8 passes, I think it was. Was it 8 passes J.J. McCarthy threw against the Nittany Lions? Again, Penn State was top 10 ranked at the time. Michigan was third. Yet J.J. McCarthy went 7 for 8 for 60 yards. Michigan ran the ball 46 times in that game. Not always aesthetically pleasing, but they made you play the game on their terms. And they are the deserving national champions. Congratulations to Michigan. Very well deserved. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.